Well, this is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show, and this could be a complete bust. Could crash in a minute, but what I'm attempting to do is do some antenna testing. I'm trying to test the new 31 meter HF dipole antenna. And I did, there's one of my problems, is, excuse me. Okay, let me see if I can get my laptop set up so I can monitor myself. Hold on. Okay, let me see here. I don't have any. Whoops. Every time I do a hangout or try to do a hangout, I struggle with it. I've not broken the code of doing a proper hangout. Okay, it's working now. Let me go back to what I was trying to do. Earlier this morning, about excuse me, about an hour ago, I attempted to set up and record this antenna testing. And the way I was going to record it is I'm using my SDR, specifically the Fifi SDR, to act as a HF radio. And that way I can visually see what's going on. Now it's 7:30, the phone's ringing. I'm going to ignore it. I don't know if I'm going to get through this or not. And stand by. It will eventually stop. Okay, it stopped. I've got my laptop behind me, and I'm watching the chat room, but it's behind me, so I won't be able to respond right away. I'll take breaks, look over there, and see what's in the chat room. Okay, back to what I was attempting to do. So this morning, I was trying to capture my testing of this antenna, but I was using my screen capture software, and I was running SDR console, which I'll be showing you in a few minutes, and I was capturing that. And unfortunately, my screen capture program is only good for about 10 minutes, and since it's storing the video and audio in memory, it runs out of memory and crashes. Well, sure, and it doesn't tell you. It lets you go on. And then when you finally stop and it goes to save and process the data that it's stored in memory, that's when it crashes and it's too late then. So I went over 10 minutes. I probably went like 15 minutes and I wasn't done. And I just said, oh, I got to quit. And I quit and it had crashed. So that didn't work. So I found out that if I can do a hangout on the air, that video and audio is stored on YouTube or in the cloud someplace. So I can talk and babble or read out whatever for up to 8 hours. So there's no limit. But the limit is the capability of this old computer I'm using. So right now on this computer, I'm running the Hangout, I'm running the webcam software, and in background, I'm running SDR console to control my Fifi SDR. So what I've got here as a setup is I've got an antenna switch. I've got my old antenna. It's just a long wire antenna. It's going southwest into my backyard. It's about 40 feet long. It's just a long wire. The antenna I have over here, HF dipole antenna that was sent to me by Timothy. He sells these on eBay. And he cut this particular one for the 31-meter band, international broadcast band. So I've done several videos on this, and now I'm going to actually try to do some reception testing. And I'm just using, as an example, my long wire antenna. That's just an example, so I can switch back and forth. So that's the setup. I think I've explained everything, and we're going to see if I can get this testing done. Okay, let me take a break and look over the chat room. Okay, hello to Thomas and Local and DX Radio and Mike and Ori and Brett and finally Cool AM Radio. I wasn't really expecting to have any viewers. I was mainly trying to do this so that I could capture my testing. And so this is kind of unannounced. I gave up on trying to capture it using my local software, screen capture software. So we're going to see if this is going to work or not. I don't know. Let me get closer to the microphone. Get back over here. Like I said, I'm monitoring my broadcast in the chat room on a laptop that's behind me. So if I don't respond to a comment right away, hope you understand. Now, where were we? Okay, now I should be able to, if this computer doesn't crash, it's running at about 95 CPU usage. So it could crash at any minute. So I'm going to switch to my screen. I think I should be able to do that and let you see that. First, you're going to see this kind of a mirror effect. And then I'll go over to where I want to show you. Now you should be seeing the SDR console program. And I'm going to turn around here and see if it's showing up on my laptop. It's not showing up yet. There it is. Okay, so you are seeing it. Now the next question is, will you be able to hear it? Now, I'm going to stick some earbuds on so I can listen to the laptop. Okay, I'm going to turn on the radio audio. Okay, I'm listening myself. Okay, I think it's coming out. So let me stop for a second. I can't believe this old computer is keeping up with all this stuff. Hasn't crashed yet. Okay, I'm going to go look in the chat room. I turned the radio audio off for a minute. I'm going to look in the chat room and see if the viewers heard the audio from the radio. Okay. Okay, what you've told me is that you did hear the radio. And that's another thing nice about doing a Hangout once I get it working is I get immediate, well, not immediate, it's maybe 10 to 15 seconds delay, but I get feedback. So if there's a question or if I'm doing something wrong, you can tell me and I'll try to correct it. Again, the laptop is monitoring the chat room and it's behind me, so I won't respond right away. Okay, now, what I was attempting to do, let me see where we're at. Not where I want to be. Okay, I want to go to radio, China Radio, which I think may be gone by now. It's already 7:40, which is a little late for me to receive China Radio. but I'm going to try it anyway. Okay, I'm getting a lot of noise. Now, right now, I'm on the dipole antenna. Just to remind you, and you can go back to my previous videos, the dipole antenna is about 15 feet at the peak where the feed-in is, and then there's two legs. One goes in my front yard northwest. I may have said northeast before. It's northwest. And the other one leg comes down almost north-south, and it comes down to about 5 feet. So definitely not the best setup. Typically, you want a dipole to be horizontal and as high as possible, at least about 20 feet in the air. Again, I'm not there, but I put it where I could put it. So let's listen to the audio. It doesn't look too good. I got some strong signals, but I got a lot of noise. Okay, let's turn the audio on. Okay, if you heard that, China radio is there, but there's this huge noise band around this frequency I'm at. Now, this HF antenna was specifically cut for me for the 31 meter band. Now, Timothy, who makes these and sells these on eBay, typically makes them, because I use typically too much, usually makes them for the amateur radio bands, 80 meter, 40 meter, 20 meter, whatever. But I asked him when he agreed to send me an antenna, I asked him if he could make it for 31 meter band, because most of my viewers, not all, a large portion, are shortwave listeners, and they listen to the international broadcast bands, one of which is 31 meter. So this antenna is specifically built and designed for the 31 meter band. If you go back to my previous show on this antenna, where I'm using my logical analyzer, my antenna analyzer, you'll see that it's tuned for that band, which is 9.4 megahertz to 9.9. So China radio is right in that band. You can see I'm getting a lot of signals. Now, again, it's 7:45 in the morning here in Florida. Eastern Daylight Time, I think they call it today. Now, what we're going to do is, the beauty of using an SDR is you get this graphical representation of what the receiver is receiving. And you can see it getting a lot of noise. Okay, let's switch now to it's just a long wire antenna. It's about 40 feet long, and that's it. There's no coupling or nothing. It's just a long wire antenna with coax as the cable that I bring it in. So it shouldn't be picking up any noise. Now, speaking of coax, I got a lot of variables here. Let me see if I can. No, I'm not going to risk it. I was going to say I was going to switch back to my camera, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to tell you about it. You saw it briefly. So I have different types of coax cable, different lengths that are bringing the antennas in. Both of them are, there's no adapters required for both of them, so that saves that attenuation. Then I have the output of the switch is an adapter for B and C, because the Fi-Fi connector is B and C. Okay, so that's kind of the general. So all those cables there are variables. The antenna switch itself is a variable. So we got lots of variables here. So this is not a true scientific test comparing one antenna to the other. It's just kind of relative, just give you some idea. So now that I've babbled enough, I'm going to switch to my little simple long wire antenna. Here we go. Wow. The noise level goes way down. And let me see what the audio is now. Okay, the audio is almost gone. I could barely hear it before, now I can't hear it at all. There is another strong signal nearby there. You can see it on the screen over here. So now I'm on my long wire antenna. Let's click on this signal here and see if it's something intelligible. We'll turn the audio back on. Oh yeah. Okay, that is a Spanish-speaking station. In the mornings, I get a lot of Spanish stations, some in South Florida, some in Cuba, some in South America. I don't know what that particular one is, but it's really strong. It's coming in good. So this is a good example. It's at about 9.61 megahertz. And I'm on my little long wire antenna. Now I will switch to the dipole and see what happens. And the noise on this antenna is not too bad. Okay, now we picked up a lot of noise. Signal appears to have gotten a lot stronger though. Let's listen to it.
2014-2015, en la introducción teológico-pastoral, escrita por el grupo local alemán, junto a la Comisión Fe y Constitución del Consejo Ecuménico de la Civil.
Okay, even though I've picked up a lot of noise, that signal is so strong, it's just bursting right through that noise. Now, I see over here on the left side is another strong station. And let's see what that is, just for the grin. There's a bunch of them coming in on this antenna. Now, before I do that, let me just look at that display. And it goes from about 9.5 down here on the bottom, goes from about 9.5, a little lower, to 9.67 maybe. So that's the spread on this display down here, which of course is in the 31 meter band. So I'm going to switch to my antenna. Just watch the waveforms and see what you see. Whoa, look at that rippling through there. So you see that the noise level has gone way down, but the signals that I was seeing on the dipole are gone too. A lot of them are gone. Many variables. Cables, where the antennas are. My antenna is in the backyard. The dipole antenna is in the front and side yard. The approximation to other cables and power lines, that's a variable. The height, my little antenna that I have in the backyard starts at about, I would say 15 feet high, and is pretty much horizontal. And like I say, it goes in the direction of southwest. The dipole is in the form of a V, where the peak, where the coax cable is connected in the center of the antenna, is about 15 feet high, and then it slopes down and it goes different directions, as I described before. So let me turn around and look at the chat room. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna scroll up here and catch up on the chat. Okay. Okay, there's a lot of talk about Radio Australia going off the air. Okay. Yeah, it's really sad about Radio Australia going off the shortwave band. I used Radio Australia a lot because in the morning it was very strong here in Florida. Okay, so I think in general what I've found, keeping in mind all the variables, is that the dipole antenna, the 31-meter dipole antenna, is receiving the signal stronger, but it's getting a lot of noise, picking up a lot of noise. I'm not sure where that noise is coming from, but it's picking up a lot of noise. Now, the other thing that I noticed, another variable, is the software itself. There goes that signal again. Is the software itself. I tried, this is SDR console version 2.3, which I've used a lot, and I've kind of tuned it up so it works very well with the Fifi SDR. But earlier, I switched to version 3, and version 3, however it was set up, because there's so many things you can change on these programs, however it was set up, the noise on the HF antenna was considerably reduced. I don't know what that's about, but I was going to use that, but when I tried to use it on the Hangout, I was getting feedback, and it was feeding when I turned the radio audio on, it was feeding into my microphone, echo, and the software was just causing this RF feedback. And so I couldn't use it. So I'm back to 2.3, and the HF dipole picks up a lot of noise. I'm going to switch back to the HF dipole and show you. Now you see all that noise come up, but look at the signal. The signal went way up as far as strength. As a matter of fact, it went off the scale, or is off the scale right now. Again, it could be cables, location, or the software. So as far as pulling in signals, the dipole antenna is doing a good job. Now this is a sample of one. Okay, I'm going to stay on the dipole, and I'm going to switch to various frequencies, some outside of what this thing was designed for, which is the 31-meter band. So let's just try a couple. I got a bunch of them up here. Here's Radio New Zealand. Don't know if it's even still on this time of day. Now that band, things are pretty clean. Of course, we're now away from where that antenna was designed and tuned for. But, and maybe, you know, that's kind of a trade-off. You know, if you go back to my previous video where I was using the antenna analyzer, you could see that the SWR was down to almost 1-to-1 in the 31-meter band, where it went way up outside that band. And maybe that because I'm outside the band now, I'm at basically at the 2.3 to 2.6 frequency. So the noise has gone way down, and there's still a bunch of signals there. Let's just turn the audio on for a second and see what I can find. Now, a lot of this, because where we're at, a lot of this is HF activity. This is the 40-meter, I said HF, 40-meter amateur band, around 7.1 to 7.3. So you're seeing a lot of activity. Most of this will be single sideband. Let's go on. What do we have here? We've got RMI in Florida. Nope, they're not there, but there's somebody right here. Wow, look at that signal. A lot of noise down here. We're at 5.85. Strong signals. Look at those strong signals. Look at these guys over here. I don't know what this thing is. Boy, it is blasting. Probably the station close by. Let's see what else have I got. I thought I had, I guess I don't have it on this version of SDR console, but I had WWV, the various frequencies saved. See, this is HF Fax out of Boston. That is about 6.34. Not much there. Now, there is a strong signal right there that's almost like some kind of data. Let me just click on that and listen to it. Well, that sounds almost like fax. And let's just use that signal for a reference. Now, again, we're out of the range of the 31 meter dipole antenna, which I'm on right now. I'm going to switch to my long wire. It's about 40 feet long. Not much different in that area. Actually, a little less noise on the 31 meter dipole. Yeah, that's fax. That's definitely fax signal. I'm not sure what this one is. Nothing. But I'm 9.9, and I'm on the dipole. And there's a couple of signals there. Let me scroll down a little bit. There's one there. Yeah. So I don't know if we can come to any conclusions. I've got way too many variables here. One other thing I can do before I sign off to really muddy up the works is I could hook up, oh, my light just came on. I could hook up my MFJ 31 foot in height vertical antenna. That's totally different than the two antennas I've been showing you. But just to muddy up the works, I'm going to hook that up. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to take my antenna, my long wire antenna off of the switch. Hook up the 31 foot vertical. I've already gotten good results from this vertical antenna. Now, keep in mind, it's $100 compared to about half that for the dipole. And it's a completely different animal. It's vertical versus horizontal. I don't know why I'm even trying it, but I got things working and I'm going to try it. So here it goes. We're on the dipole. I'm switching to the vertical. There's the vertical. Clean, very clean. Now let's see if the audio got any better. Oh yeah, I could actually understand the audio. Also keep in mind, the tip of that vertical antenna is 31 feet in the air. That's my highest antenna. And another thing about height is the higher you get the antenna, the more it gets away from the ambient noise. And so this is really apples and oranges, but it does give you an indication why I like that antenna so much, because it does a fantastic job. It's $100 from MFJ. So anyway, that's a test. I'm going to go look at the chat room for a second, and then we'll shut this down. Okay, if you hear kind of a clicking sound in the background, which I'm surprised you can hear it, I have a timer for my security light in the backyard. And every once in a while, and it's an old appliance timer, big box. Every once in a while, it gets noisy as heck. I don't know why, and it comes and goes. So that's what you could be hearing in the background. And let me go back and describe my test setup one more time. I was testing the 31 meter HF dipole antenna that Timothy on eBay made for me and sent to me. He typically makes dipole antennas for amateur radio operators. So they're made for 80 meters, 40 meters, 20 meters, and also. When we chatted back and forth about me doing a review of his antennas, I told him that many of my viewers are shortwave listeners. And one of the most used international broadcast bands to listen to is 31 meters. So he says, I'll make you an antenna that's specifically cut for that. He also sent me a 40 meter antenna, same concept, dipole, that I will test in the future on the 40 meter amateur radio band. I'm running a SDR, software defined radio. This particular one is called the Fifi. It sells for about $100. It was given to me by one of my friends. He didn't use it, so he gave it to me, and I've been using it. I really like it. The only limitation it has is bandwidth. The bandwidth is a little short. I think it's only 1.9 megahertz, the maximum you can scan on the screen, which is what I'm doing right now. I think that's about the setup. Oh, I'm using SDR console version 2.3 build 2381. A reason I went back to that one is this one always seems to work for me, and I've used it a lot, and I've kind of tuned it up because there's so many variables in these SDR software programs. So that's the setup. I had two antennas that was going through a antenna switch. There goes that signal going through the band right there. And that's basically a setup. I think I got the testing done. It's really a mixed bag because of my setup and conditions and everything. But I'll do some more testing like this since I got it working. I'll try different times of days, and then I'll put the 40 meter antenna that Timothy sent me. Again, he sells these on eBay. You can go back to my first show, and I gave you the details of his full name and his account on eBay. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Now, I don't just figure out how to shut this stuff off. Okay, we'll stop sharing. That'd be the first thing I'll do. And then we'll go to the other screen, which is this one. So this is my setup. If I'm still broadcasting, which I think I am. This is the antenna switch. There's the two antennas coming in, coupled through this BNC to BNC cable because the Fifi requires a BNC connector, and I have to have adapter here on this. So that was my setup. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.